with me now to unpack how Floridians are navigating this all is Nancy Sikes-Kline. She's the mayor of St. Augustine, where mandatory evacuation orders are in place for the entire city, and Senator Linda Stewart from Orange County, which is hosting evacuation senators. Hello to both of you. I appreciate you making the time for us and our audience during what is an incredibly stressful time. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. What can you tell us about the conditions there at the moment and what you're anticipating?
Well, what we're seeing right now is primarily flooding in the low-lying areas, and then, of course, increasing rain and wind. The wind is beginning to increase.
And what is the anticipated sort of path of the hurricane into your area? My understanding is it's going to hit a little bit later than it originally makes landfall in near Tampa.
It is arriving later than what we expected, but we expect overnight tonight and through midday tomorrow. The storm increasingly difficult conditions, yes.
Senator, if I could move over to you, I know your area is hosting a number of people who have had to flee. I mean, just to put it into context for Canadians watching, I believe it's over 7 million people now have been told to leave their homes in anticipation of this hurricane. Can you tell us a bit about what your community is doing?
Well, we have plenty of hotels here that still have vacancies, but we don't like people traveling. They should have done that already. Right now, we just got an emergency tornado alert on all our phones because that seems the most imminent danger right now for Central Florida. The tornado band is coming our way, Osceola and Orange County. So we have to, shelter in place in your safe spot right now, because that's the most imminent danger for us here in Central Florida is these tornadoes that are going through. We haven't even gotten to the Milton storm yet, and that will be later on this evening, and the time does change when it may be coming and to what strength it is, but it's been Category 2 for some time now. If it drops a little bit, that might happen, but we were going to feel the effects for a very long time through the night. So we have to pay close attention to what's happening. And when we lose power, that's going to be another challenge because it's hard for people to keep up with what's happening just around their own homes. So yes, we have low-lying areas. Yes, we have older home neighborhoods that septic tanks are, and the water retention is just not good. Mm-hmm. And then we have the mobile home parks, and they all tend to flood. So if they have not already gotten out, they're going to flood. And we're going to be without utilities 2 to 3 days. So all of those are projected and expected. So we've got a lot on our hands right now, like everybody else throughout the state has.
And Mayor, let me ask you, if I could, about people in your community. I know Floridians are certainly used to storms. They're used to withstanding a lot from Mother Nature. But this is in such close succession to Helene, not too long ago. How are people doing?
Well, people are stressed out. They're worried. We just finally today got the debris picked up from Helene. Thank goodness, because we're expecting those flooding conditions. But I will say this, our community is prepared. We have had 5 of these sorts of events where hurricanes are exiting over the city, blowing in, this storm surge and a lot of water back up into our rivers and our low-lying areas. People, we're seasoned. We've been through this. So despite that, we're worried. Anytime you see a Category 3 hurricane, it's a great concern. So, but we're ready. We're ready. We're prepared, and we'll do what we need to do to get to people if they get into trouble. Right now, we've asked everybody to get to the high ground, not necessarily travel too far, but just to get, whether it's someone a little bit higher and a little bit further off the coast, but just to get out of those low-lying areas and stay hunkered down. Because we don't want them out on the roads. Right now, we need them to stay home with their families until this thing passes. So we're all really it's kind of a waiting game right now, and so that could be a little stressful.
Yeah, and if our audience is just joining us now on the right hand of your screen, you'll see a variety of live looks. You were just looking at Fort Myers. These are different sort of places. This is the bridge that leads into Tampa. At this very moment, the conditions are rough. As Senator, you were saying, there's been the tornado conditions throughout the day. A similar question to you, if I could. How are the people in your community doing right now after all that you've had to withstand over the last number of weeks, and the way in which this storm is being characterized and categorized heading into this evening?
A lot of people are new to the area and they are totally unfamiliar with what a hurricane or a tornado is. So, educational has to go out to all these people. Some of them just think, oh, well, it's probably not nothing, but it's a lot. And we've got 14 shelters set up. We have 4 shelters that are for handicapped, that are pet friendly. So we put out as much opportunity for people to come into a safe place as we can. We don't want them moving around right now. However, tomorrow, if they find themselves without utilities, and particularly if they are handicapped, they may want to seek a shelter to get in a better condition. So we've done everything here that we possibly can, other than to continue to hammer it down to people that this is dangerous and this is nothing to think that you can get through. If you've never been through it, you've got to pay attention to what the officials are saying to you. Shelter in place, find a safe place to go, interior, away from windows, get a blanket put over your head if you have to, if there's any damage coming through your home. There's things you have to do to be ready for this unusual circumstance, particularly with the tornadoes. We have never had tornadoes this many at this speed ever in Florida.
Yeah, most tornado warnings ever in a day, a record for the state today already, and the day isn't even through. I want to thank both of you very much for making the time for the conversation. I know it's an incredibly stressful and busy time, so I do appreciate your time. Thank you. That is the Mayor of St. Augustine, Nancy Sikes-Kline, as well as State Senator Linda Stewart for Orange County, Florida.